and welcome to this week's edition of the Week in Triathlon. Let's roll that intro and get stuck into this week's news.
Like and subscribe for more.
Top of the news this week is that Javier Gomez Noya plans to step up to full Ironman distance racing in 2018. He's targeting Nice, Cannes and possibly even Frankfurt as far as his Ironman debut is concerned, and he's looking at racing several 70.3s as well, and he'll be defending his 70.3 World Championship crown in South Africa later in the year. And bearing in mind that racing the 70.3 World Championship in South Africa will almost be like a home away from home, because over the years gone past, Stellenbosch, South Africa used to be a frequent winter training base that Javier, as well as Chrissy Wellington and a number of other top triathletes used to use. Then one of the things that he says is that he's got almost enough KPR points to be able to qualify for Kona 2018, which is his goal, before stepping back down to Olympic distance racing to make sure that Spain has enough, gets a full contingent of 3 athletes into the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. And he says that his KPR ranking is almost sufficient thanks to his 70.3 titles, but nutrition will be key. As when he races 70.3, he only needs 2 gels as far as nutrition is concerned to get through the entire race. Staying with Ironman, there's a new Ironman 70.3 in California this year. It's going to be the Ironman 70.3 India Worlds La Quinta. The prize fund of $25,000 for the pros and 30 slots for the Ironman 70.3 World Championship in Nice, France. The weekend that Ironman has chosen for the event is exactly the same weekend as the 8th and 9th of December as what is Challenger's first race back in America with the Challenge Daytona. Obviously, Ironman's exact goal with the Ironman 70.3 Indian Wells is to try and grab as many athletes and attention away from Challenger's Indian Wells event to make Challenger's relaunch into the American market as difficult as they possibly can. Still in the world of Ironman, the Wonder Group, those are the owners of the Ironman brand, is planning an IPO of all of their sports assets on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange during the course of this year. Their sports assets include Ironman, the Big 5 marathons, that's New York, Chicago, London, Rotterdam, Berlin. Those marathons, as well as the Tour de Suisse, that's all encompassed within the sports assets within their group, and those are the assets that are planning to be listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange this year. So you too will be able to earn a chunk of Ironman yourself. Next up, some superb news was tweeted out by Tim Don this week. You will remember that he had that horrific bike crash just days before the Ironman World Championship in Kona last year, where he broke his neck. He's been in a neck brace as well as a halo around his head bolted into his skull that was connected to his neck brace. The good news is that the halo part of the neck brace system has been removed for the first time since the bike crash, and which is a significant indication that he's on the road to recovery and hopefully getting back into physical activity in the not too distant future. Next up, as far as the ITU is concerned, 13th of January will be the first opportunity for para-triathletes to be reclassified under the brand new amended classification groups. But you'll have to travel all the way to St Kilda, Australia, in order to be able to be tested to see which of these disability groups you specifically fit into. Next up, and still with the ITU, the 2018 calendar has been published with events running from the St Kilda Para-Triathlon Oceania Championship in mid-January, on the 14th of January, through to the 3rd of November, with the final World Cup of the season, and that happening in Japan. Next up, we move on to the world of the Challenge family. And Challenge Madrid has announced an extra 30 minutes for the T2 cutoff after an agreement with the different road safety bodies. So the T2 cutoff will now be 9 hours 20 minutes after the race start, as opposed to the 8 hours 50 that it was in 2017. And finally, let's take a look at what's happening in the coming week in triathlon. On the 14th of January, there's going to be the IM70.3 in Pucón, Chile, as well as on the same day, on the 14th of January, there's going to be the ITU Para-Triathlon Oceania Championships in St Kilda, Australia, as I mentioned earlier. That brings me to the end of this week's edition of the Week in Triathlon. Be sure to like this video, share it out amongst your friends. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button that's down there. And last but by no means least, until the two of us meet again, remember I've got daily videos coming out to you. Stay carved up for the win. See you next time. Cheers.
CoachEdu.net